Okay, everybody. Well, welcome to tonight's Audit and Accounts Committee meeting. Welcome to everybody here and welcome to all those who may be watching us on live stream. Could I remind everybody, please, to switch off their mobile phones or place them on silent. There are no plans for a fire alarm, so if the fire alarm does sound, please leave by the nearest exit and meet at the car park at the front of the building. Could I remind everyone, including members of the public, to speak into their microphones at all times? For those who are live streaming, that means they will be able to hear the meeting clearly and what is being said. Can I now move on to ask those present to introduce themselves? I'll start. My name's Councillor Judith Driver. I'm the Chair of Audit and Accounts and I represent Bacup Ward.
Councillor Marilyn Proctor from Haslingden Ward.
Councillor Michelle Smith from Britannia in Lee Mill Ward.
Councillor Jimmy Eaton, substitute for Matt Morton.
Simon McManus, I'm the co-opted member.
Katie Kingston, External Audit Manager.
Mark Baskerville, Internal Audit Manager.
Andy Dulexky, Head of Internal Audit.
John Payne, Councillor for Whitewell and Stacksteads.
Anne Hodgkiss, Councillor for Helmshaw Ward, subbing for Councillor Woods.
Glenda Ashton, Committee Officer.
Kimberly Howarth, Head of Financial Services.
Chris Warren, Director of Resources.
Thank you, everybody. So we'll move on to the business, item A1, which are apologies for absence. Apologies have been received from Councillor Norton and Councillor Eaton is subbing and Councillor Woods and Councillor Hodgkiss is subbing. Is there any more apologies for absence, please?
Can I add Councillor Kenyon to that, please? Apologies.
Thank you. Item A2, minutes of the meeting held on the 3rd of December 2025. Could I ask someone to move those minutes, please?
I'll move those, Chair.
Thank you. Could I ask that those minutes are seconded?
Yes.
Thank you, Councillor Hodgkiss. Is everyone in favour of those minutes? All approved? Thank you. Okay. Can I just ask that everybody does make sure they do raise their hand so that Glenda can see everybody's approval of the minutes. Thank you. Item A3, urgent items. There are no urgent items of business being brought to the committee tonight. Item A4, declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest?
No.
None declared. Thank you. Item B1, public question time. We have no written questions received, have we? No, we haven't, Glenda. Thank you. Is there anyone here present at the moment that wants to raise anything as a question at this moment in time? No? Thank you. Gosh, we're speeding along. Item C, Chair's update. I have nothing to particularly report other than to thank all the officers for this comprehensive report that we've got in front of us tonight. Item D1, which is the Corporate Risk Register update Q3 2025-26. Can I ask Chris Warren, please, to speak on this report?
Thanks, Chair. Yeah. Purpose of this report is to update members on the Council's 10 corporate risks and their current RAG statings, their progress of mitigation of actions and any emerging issues. It is to be noted this register presents the risk at the 31st of December and clearly action does continue all the time. some of the main things are overall performance will remain strong, although clearly as Section 151 officer, I would always encourage us to continue to be cognizant of the financial pressures that are within the sector, some of the rising service demand areas that we have, and wider economic challenges which continue to require close monitoring, which is something that's built into the Council's risk framework. There are no risks which are considered unmanageable and all continue to be actively overseen by our corporate management team. In terms of the RAG ratings of our risks, we have 2 greens, 7 ambers and 1 high risks. The high risk is risk 3 within the register, which is an incident resulting in death or serious injury or for a HSE investigation. This remains high at the moment as there are ongoing requirements under the Health and Safety at Work Act, which we are working through. There is significant progress made, in particular in terms of the cemetery memorial inspections, which were the result, which this risk arose from, and the follow-up actions which are happening and are close to completion. We're expecting to complete all related actions by the end of Q4, i.e. the end of March, with senior officer training and policy reviews underway. I will pick up 2 of the medium rated. I've just talked about sustainable medium-term financial strategy. The world has moved on a little bit since that register was written in December, sorry. We will be looking to set a budget and get that approved at council on the 4th of March. I think fair funding review has been favourable to us, and some work officers have done with respect to balance sheet review has been helpful. So I think we are in a better position, although relying on reserves in year 1 because of service pressures of £1.2 million. These are likely to abate during the second year, and actually in the final year of, well, in the first year of a unitary authority, we should be able to set somewhere close to a sustainable budget, a balanced budget. The other item I will pick up again in my portfolio is the financial sustainability of leisure assets. The leisure review is coming towards its conclusion. We're expecting to see a final report within the next 24 hours. They will then be shared with Cabinet and the Trust Board, and then we'll go through a decision-making process with Council. So just to pick up on some of the governance and assurance aspects, our risks are reviewed quarterly by the CMT. Finance and legal officers confirm that report poses no immediate legal issues and supports financial resilience through regular oversight. It's recommended that committee note the contents of the report. Any questions?
Thank you. Councillor Eaton.
Thank you, Chair. Just regarding Bacup Cemetery, I've been going up on a regular basis recently. I've noticed there's a lot of stones laid down. I appreciate some are very large and some are only small. And I'm just wondering if we can have an update on these. I've got concerns of some of these have been laid down. As a matter of fact, one of my families, I don't think it's 3 feet high, and it's laid down. I appreciate there's some bigger and they've got stoops behind them and taped off. I'm just wondering if you could expand on what the situation is with those, please. Thank you.
So we put budgetary provision in to allow the reinstatement of memorials. They'll be worked through over a period of time. It's not a quick job, as you can imagine. Our operations team are planning on a risk-based basis how to reinstate the cemeteries to a sensible state, given some of the risks that do exist.
To go back there on, Chair, those which are actually laid down at this moment in time, is there going to be a cost to the relatives who actually own those graves?
At the moment, we're reviewing where we go with that in terms of how we deal with it. We have got budgetary provision to do works to reinstate ourselves, but there will be situations where families, there is no contact for a family because a grave might be significant years old. So we will do what we can appropriately with respect to it.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Hotchkiss.
It's just a clarity really more than anything. On risk 10, the waste transfer station, it says that Barnfield Construction have agreed and we're going to give them the contract if it comes in under budget on tender. I just wondered, it's a bit confusing because they've been awarded it even though the tender's not come in. And then what happens if it comes in over budget? What do we do then?
I don't think they've been awarded. The intention was to give them, because that's a joint venture organisation that we have, was to give them first refusal
Right, okay.
on the bid. The bids are in now. If they were to be over, we'd have to go out to market and it would delay the delivery of waste transfer station.
Oh, Councillor Payne.
Thank you. Sorry. Risk 1, the financial strategy. You say you're looking to cut costs and also to increase income. What's the balance of those? And what are the things that you're looking to do to increase income?
There's a range of things, and clearly, as I said in my intro, things have moved on since that position. It's in all our interests to get best value and achieve efficiency. So we look across all service areas to find where we can use technology, where we've got outdated process or process that we don't need to follow. So we continue to do that. In terms of income, there's a range of income sources, including commercial potential opportunities. And we look at our fees and charges regularly. And clearly, we look to find external funding sources as much as we can.
Okay. Are you looking to sell any council assets to raise income?
We will look to maintain our asset portfolio appropriately. So if we've got anything that is surplus to requirements, clearly from a best value perspective, we would look to dispose of those because there'd be a maintenance liability that we don't need.
And okay, I just know of 2 little plots of land actually quite near where I live along Burnley Road East, where residents have expressed an interest in either leasing them or buying them for parking, stuff like that. Is that something that you would be interested in?
I think it's worth a conversation with our property management colleagues. Absolutely.
Okay.
Can I just ask about that? Because obviously, just to some clarification there for Councillor Payne. If residents did want to purchase a piece of land, my understanding is that it would have to be at a marketed value of what it was actually worth. Is that correct? Yes.
Any sale would go through a valuation process. We'd get an external valuation for any sale, really, to ensure that we're getting best value. Or would go out to, if there was no market value as such, we'd go out to a tender process or a sealed bid process, really, in terms of making sure we do get that best value.
Okay. Are you okay with that answer, Councillor Payne? Thank you. Has anybody else got any questions on that particular item? Councillor Smith?
Yeah, just going back to the health and safety and the red risk, have we got a timescale of when everything's going to be completed so that's no longer glaringly red, shall we say? Because it is the only red one, isn't it? Which is good, but is there a sort of timescale of when we can expect that to?
The HSE related actions are due for completion in Q4.
Are we on track to do that?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Smith, and thank you everybody for the questions. Is everybody okay with that? So can I ask someone to move that report, please?
Can I move it, Chair? And with thanks to the officers, I think the reports are really well written and very clear and give us as much information as they possibly can do. And I'd like to thank them for that.
Thank you. So that's moved. Is that seconded?
I'll second that report.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. All those in favour, please, of that report, can just raise our hands, please. Thank you. So that's clearly approved. Thank you. Can we move on, please, to item D2, the review of the Treasury Management Policy and Procedures for 2026-2027. Chris, that's you again. Thank you. I'd like to speak to the report.
The report presents the Treasury Management Strategy, our annual investment strategy, and the Treasury Management Policy and Practices for 26-27. These set out how the Council will manage borrowing, investments, cash flows and financial risks related to those in line with the 2021 SIPFA Treasury Management and Prudential Code, which is the existing practice. These documents constitutionally must be reviewed by this committee and then approved by full council, hence why we're bringing them here. Some key points to note: our strategies fully comply with SIPFA codes as at 2021, the latest guidance that is in play, and all statutory guidance as necessary. We have an annual review of these policies and procedures, which ensure that we are prudent, compliant, and have proportionate treasury management practices in play. Our internal controls remain strong, with clear segregation of duties, documented procedures, and regular audits of the work we do in this area. The council remains in an under-borrowed position, using internal cash to defer external borrowing where prudent, thus reducing pressure on the revenue budget from borrowing. During the course of our next MTFS, our borrowing will stay within approved limits that we have set, which are an operational boundary of 18 million and an authorised limit of 20 million. Our current borrowing is approximately 3 million, which is well within these limits, and with our forecast for capital expenditure over the next 2 years, will not breach those two items. Our investment strategy continues to prioritise security before we consider liquidity, or security and liquidity before we consider yield. That is to say, we don't risk money in unsafe investments in terms of the investments we make of surplus cash. And surplus cash is only a temporary surplus cash because the cash is earmarked to be spent on revenue or capital items in the future. We place any investments in low risk, high credit worthy counterparties, which include the UK government, other UK local authorities, and highly rated banks and money market funds. There are no significant changes proposed from the 25-26 strategy. We continue to provide training to our officers and to members. I think we provided training to officers in July 2025, and we've done some recent officer training. That will be an ongoing process. The report brings out some risks which we manage in the following way. So credit and counterparty failure, we have a strict counterparty criteria in terms of who we will lend to. So we only lend to strong creditworthy organisations. Liquidity pressures, we cash flow monitor on a daily basis. Interest rate volatility, we continue to take advice from our consultants who are specialists in this area. Compliance with statutory codes, we do an annual review of where we are with respect to the statutory codes, and we do quarterly borrowing. Also, the risk of potential borrowing risk, we set ourselves a boundary above which we will not go. So those things mitigate the risk that potentially exist. We ask committee to review the policy and procedures, provide any comments or recommendations to full council. From an assurance perspective, the overall strategy is robust, fully compliant with regulations, and prudent for the state of the authority that we are and the size of authority that we are. It's supported by good governance, risk management, and internal control frameworks. Any questions?
Has the committee got any questions? Oh, Councillor Payne.
I'm looking at table 1 in section 2.1 capital expenditure, and for this year it's 30 million, and then next year it goes down to 3.6. I'm just wondering why there's such a big drop in capital expenditure from this year to next.
It's the nature of our levelling up fund. We have to be spent by the end of the next financial year. So there's a good £10 million worth of that. Clearly, there's quite a significant amount going into the waste transfer station as well. That's a sizable chunk of expenditure that we otherwise wouldn't get away. The following year, I think we'll find most items are hopefully coming to completion as we approach reorganisation, and capacity in that year will be tested elsewhere, hopefully, and just finishing off and getting us to a good state to transfer into a new authority.
Have you got a follow-up question?
I'm just wondering what the 1.6 million on climate change was for this year. What's that going to?
Various decarbonisation initiatives, including most significant work at Marlpits Leisure Centre.
Thanks.
Councillor Rodriguez.
Just a quick one. What will the forecast capital spending plans do to the £3 million figure that we have here? In other words, will the new debt that we refer to, will it come from internal borrowing or public works or both?
Very hard to say immediately at this point in time, because it will depend on what other cash flow pressures we've got. As I said in the initial report, we will seek to borrow internally and as far as we can to avoid external borrowing. In our budget, we've assumed that we borrow externally from a very prudent perspective. However, we know we have some capital receipts to come in, which will mitigate some of that. And we will try. Clearly, to spend 30 million in 1 year is quite a challenge for this authority. It may be that cash doesn't get away, so we can afford to internally borrow in the short term, and we will continue to do so.
Any more questions on that particular item? No. Can I just ask one, Chris, really, regarding the risk section where it's credit and counterparty failure and liquidity and risk, and then we get to the interest rate scenario. How do we deal with the variable interest rates within our budget sort of setting realistically? Because just at the moment they have been just a little bit volatile, haven't they?
Yeah. So in terms of if we're looking to borrow, we look at rates that are available in the market from our treasury management consultants, and we set our expectations on a very prudent view in terms of probably at the higher end of where expectations are going in terms of borrowing rates available in the market. We continue to get interest rate updates on a daily basis, as it turns out, and we review where our investments are with respect to should we defer borrowing, should we pay borrowing back early, that sort of good thing. So we clearly actively monitor on a day-to-day basis.
So we are actively monitoring that on a sort of daily and basis. Thank you.
The team are looking for best value rates in terms of those. While we don't do anything exciting, we look for best rates in the market at appropriate credit worthiness with the tools that we have available, really. And they've been very successful, to be fair, and it has supported the revenue budget in the last 3 years quite significantly.
I mean, I think within our financial team, I think we do a cracking job realistically, and I can't thank you enough for the work that you actually do to keep our borough in the situation where we're at, and which is a very good place to be at the moment. So thank you so much. Can I just ask? I've talked about it quite a bit, so can I just ask this question regarding the data protection and that you mentioned at the last meeting about the card operating scheme, didn't you? Is there any? Can you just give a bit of an update on where we're at with that for people paying with the card and how that's working or not working at the moment, given where we're at?
So the vast majority of card payments come through our revenues and benefits service, which we have a fully compliant PCI DSS service, given the size of the organisation that deals with that. We have a small risk with respect to people paying for non-revenues items, such as, I don't know, licensing fees, green waste charges, etc., because we don't have the system in-house to allow a break in a call. I think it is unfeasible in the short term to build that in. It would be a big expense to the taxpayer in the short term. So we have trained our staff effectively in terms of handling of card detail and the destruction thereof and the non-retention thereof. That, I think, is the prudent position before we go to local government reorganisation, when systems will be aligned, and it's likely that some of our bigger neighbours will have that in system already, and we can piggyback on the back of that one.
Thank you. That is really good to hear that. Any other questions from? No, thank you. So given that, could someone move the report, please?
I'll move the report, Chair, with thanks to the
Thank-
officers.
Thank you. Is that seconded, please? Thank you, Councillor Rodgers. All those in favour of that report, please? Clearly carried, thank you. So that report is being approved. We're now at item D3, the internal audit progress report, December 2025 to January 2026. Can I ask Mark, is you, Mark, is it, to speak on that report?
Yeah, thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Yes, as you say, this is progress with delivery of the audits on our 25-26 internal audit plan. We've issued 3 final reports so far, 2 in draft. A draft IT report is on its way, and the other IT audit is being currently worked on. For reasons which we've brought to the committee previously about the team's capacity and resourcing, we had a fairly slow start to delivery, but we're catching up quickly, and we have resources allocated to deliver the remaining audits in Q4. That's the key financial systems and 2 further systems audits. In terms of the audits that we've delivered so far, we looked at data management arrangements and gave positive assurance over the arrangements in place. There was some room for improvement, as there often is, but nothing of any great significance. Salford Technical Audit Service delivered a draft report on their audit of outsourced data centre, and while I don't normally report findings at this stage, not until the final report is issued, they were very positive about the arrangements that you have. We're looking at delivering agreeing an audit plan for 2026-27, and I've had discussions with the corporate management team about what will go on that plan. It's likely to include work on local government reorganisation, but we need to agree that fully, and once we've agreed it, I'm looking at the possibility of submitting that to the committee for consideration outside of the committee, if you like, because your next committee isn't until July, and managers are currently looking at whether that's something that's allowable under your constitution. So we'll take that forward as we find out. In terms of our team position, we're now fully at complement, which is a good thing. We're very happy about that, and we've got some very good people on board, although there's a fair amount of inexperience, and we have a number of trainee auditors that we're bringing on, but the future looks bright. So I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mark. That's a great update. Have we got any questions on that report? Any queries at all? Anything? No? Councillor Warmsley, did you want to speak on that issue? Thank you, Councillor Warmsley.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Just a question in terms of the report for next year on internal audits. The assumption being that will also include some additional days that would be deemed flexible to meet the needs of the organisation as we went through the year. Certainly historic practice around that, and would see no reason why that wouldn't continue to go through next year. I'm just looking for clarification on that, if that's possible. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's probably more need for flexibility in 26-27 given local government reorganisation. So we can agree an initial plan, but as the saying goes, no plan survives the first contact with the enemy. We will stay flexible and respond to council's needs.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
I think we aren't the enemy.
No comment.
Oh, thank you, Councillor Warmsley. Thank you, Mark. Has anybody got any further questions on that report then, or anything you've just heard from Councillor Warmsley? No. Can I just say it is good to hear that we have got recruiting in place now, I think that needs to be celebrated to a degree that, you know, I'm not sure whether or not they're all from the accounting background or whether or not they're from other aspects and being trained up. But I think given the fact that we've got local government reorganisation now coming upon us, I think that it's great that we are getting more up to speed and that we can train, you know, sort of newer members of staff into those roles. So it's great to hear.
It's interesting, Chair, because we've got a couple of auditors with relevant adjacent skills already, but we've got trainees in. One is a teacher. Was a teacher, thank you, for 10 years, you know, so completely different ball game, and she's excellent at what she does. And people from different fields that we're bringing into the service with core skills, but not audit skills. But everything's looking promising. So thank you.
That is just great to hear from the point of view of where we're going to. Has anybody got any questions on that at all? No. Okay. So can I ask then for that report to be moved by somebody? Thank you, Councillor Eaton. Can I ask for that report to be seconded by somebody?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councillor Proctor. Can I ask if everybody is in favour of that report, please? Please show. Thank you. That report is clearly approved. We're going on to item D4 now, the Auditor Strategy and Completion Report for 2024-2025. And Katie Kingston, are you okay to speak on that, please?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So as you said, today we're bringing you our combined audit strategy and audit completion report, which sets out the basis for our disclaimer opinion that we plan to issue on the 24-25 financial statements. There's nothing within this report that you haven't seen already before, and it's really a formality that we're required to bring this to you under auditing standards, which will then allow us to issue our disclaimer opinion. Section 6 of our report contains a summary of our value for money work, but we discussed this at the last committee in December, so I'm not going to go through in any detail. And in terms of the timetable for sign off of the council's financial statements, so following the committee tonight, we require Chris, as section 151, to provide us with a signed letter of representation. Once we've got that, we'll then be able to issue our audit opinion on the financial statements ahead of the end of February deadline, which is next week. So that was all I was going to say. I'm happy to take questions, but I'll leave it there.
Thank you, Katie. Have we got any questions for Katie on anything at all that you might want to raise, just as a query or anything? Councillor Hodgkiss.
Just a query, really. Have we still not got a signed agreement with Rosendale Leisure Trust? Is that what this is telling me here?
I think that might be a question for Chris.
Part of the leisure review is looking at the governance arrangements that we have, which over years have become a bit disparate. So one of the actions coming out of that, I'm assuming, will be a firm review of our service level agreements between ourselves and the trust, our lease arrangements, etc.
Okay, thank you.
But just to we are on with that now, just for, you know, for as a council, we are looking at that now, aren't we? For a report to come forward.
Yes, as we mentioned before, the trust review. As I said, we're expecting within the next 24 hours the final report, and that will be worked on with members, officers, and trust board members with respect to the recommendations that are coming out of them.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Chris. Has anybody else got any clarification points? Queries? No, on that? No? Okay, are you okay with that, Councillor Wormsley? Yeah, thank you. So can I ask someone then please to move that report?
I'll move it, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor
With
Proctor. Thank you, Councillor Proctor. Can I ask somebody to second that report? Right, so 2 seconds. We've got Councillor Hodgkins on, Councillor Smith, whichever one we pop their hand up first. Thank you, councillors. Can I just ask if all those present are in favour of that report? Thank you. That report is clearly approved. Thank you. I think we've got to item E now, haven't we? Which is the exclusion of public and press. Do we stop live streaming? Can we do? Yeah. Is that all right if we're up to that? Okay. So can I ask somebody that we move the exclusion of public and press and stop live streaming, please?
I move that, Chair.
Thank you. Can I have that seconded, please? Thank you, Councillor Eaton. All those in favour, please. Thank you. That is clearly approved. Thank you, Glenda.